What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the Brad and Kyle channel, and today we're going to teach you guys a strategy that'll help you improve your house shot scores. Stay tuned.
All right, Kyle, so when we talk about a house shot, we specifically say house shot because it's the most popular pattern that everyone bowls on. You know, sports shots,
tournaments.
Yep, the house pattern is the one that has the most games bowled on it, for sure. So when we talk about a strategy being used on that, we're talking about playing straight for a reason. Why should we play straighter on house patterns, Kyle?
Well, I think the important thing is to have straighter angles and not giving away the pocket a whole lot. On the fresh house shot, it can be okay. You can get away with a lot of different angles, but the reason it's a house shot is because it's really dry to the right part of the lane and it's really slick in the middle part of the lane or the left side of the lane. On the outside part of the lanes, there's a lot of dry, and on the inside part of the lane, there's a lot of oil. It's very slick. Now, in the beginning, you can kind of get away with a multitude of angles, and that's the purpose of the house shot. It's supposed to be easy. You can get to the pocket from a lot of different ways. But as transition happens, as a lot of games goes on, that outside part of the lane becomes really dry, and the middle part of the lane remains slick. So now we have this really big imbalance of the oil across the lane. The dry is really dry, the oil is really slick, and we call that wet dry. We call that the lane's getting cliffed. There's basically, you know, there's like I said, a really big imbalance. Now, what happens is that can be hard to control with the dry being too dry, and then you get it in, and then the lanes becomes too slick. If you guys are house shot bowlers out there, you've probably faced that many a times. Now, to try to alleviate this issue, I think straighter angles is the way to go. Now, when I talk about straighter angles, you can have straighter angles from the front or from the right side part of the lane. You can have straighter angles playing further left. But the idea is we don't want to get that ball way out to that dry because it reacts so violently and it's hard to control.
Yeah, and quickly, the reason the drier becomes dry and the slick remains slick is, say you go bowl league, there's 10 people on a pair. Most likely all 10 people are going to be throwing it from a different spot on the front part of the lane. Let's say we have like 3 or 4 guys playing a little straighter, we got 3 or 4 guys playing a little in. Well, their laydown spot is different. But when it gets to the back portion of the lane, they all come together. The difference in where the ball goes is very minor. They almost always go to somewhat of the same spot down lane. Even though everyone's starting from a different position, it always ends up being close. So all that traffic from every shot gets down lane to the same spot, and that spot ends up drying out a bunch. Well, no one's really playing down lane, the middle part of the lane, so that portion, the oily portion, stays oily, and then the right side gets drier. And that becomes tricky because if you miss a little left, it could not hook enough. And then if you get it going there a little too quick, let's say your angles are a little bit more open and you get it to the dry a little quick, well, then it's going to overhook. And then at that point, well, what do you do?
Right.
Yeah, which is the strategy we're talking about right now.
Yeah, and what's kind of funny is you'll notice some PBA bowlers, a lot of them struggle on the house shot because when we bowl on patterns, a lot of times we're opening up our angles and sending it really far out to the right and trying to get it to hook back in. When you bowl on the house shot, that's not the case because we run into that wet dry issue to where we're too far left, and if we get it right, it overhooks and we're like, oh, so we got to get it in, and then our feet and our eyes aren't lined up to keep the ball in, and then it actually doesn't hook at all.
So what does it feel like to you when you come across that scenario, which I've heard a lot of people in our membership, a lot of my students, they always want to know, like, what do I do on the wet dry? It can almost be equally as hard as like a really difficult pattern to start out, you know?
Right. Oh yeah, it's very difficult.
It can be very difficult.
Sometimes it's the hardest.
So when so when you get into that point of the tournament or league or whatever, what does it feel like for you? And then what does it also feel like when you close your angles down and use straighter angles?
So the strategy that I've tried to adopt, and this is something I've been working on because I've struggled on some wet dry house shots. I like to keep my angles very straight at the beginning. I like to stay somewhere around 10 to 15, and I like to just go up the lane. You know, I'm taking some hand out of the ball, I'm keeping my speed up, but I'm keeping the ball in front of me. I'm not trying to hook the entire lane. Well, that's eventually going to go away because there's a lot of traffic going on. So when I start moving my eyes left, or moving my feet left and everything left because of the transition, what I want to focus on is I want to feel like the ball is more in front of me. And I want to use the oil. My whole concept is I want to get the ball to hook in the oil. I don't want to use that dry to bounce it off and get it to come back. So what I like to do is when I move my feet left, move my eyes left, I like to make sure everything seems like it's in front of me. I'm square, my angles aren't really far open. I like to stay a little bit more up the back, keep it slow, and the whole idea is I don't want my ball to get away from the pocket too much. So when we use the oil though, a lot of times when that's why I said slow it down, stay up the back, because we've got to get that ball to read in the oil. So to me, that's the best way to control it. Now I can basically say, all right, Kyle, you're not getting the ball to the right. You're not going to use the dry. You're just going to throw it nice and easy, slow into the oil. The oil is going to take the ball down and you're going to control the pocket. That gives me the best chance to hit the pocket as many times as I can. Now it's just a matter of trying to carry, getting the right ball in my hand to try to carry.
And I think we've had a lot of experience when it comes to bowling on house shots, or at least really cliff patterns, especially being from St. Louis. And we have had a bird's eye view at some of the best down and in players. And I tell you what, when we bowl tournaments, just local house shot tournaments here in Kansas City, we're not the favorites. I mean, we can hang and we can win, but there are some local bowlers.
There's those up 10 dumpers that, listen, I'm not bowling them on a house shot, but it's because they have those straighter angles and they mastered it, where we like to hook the whole lane, and on a house shot, that's not really the case that you want to have.
You call them up 10 dumpers.
They are up 10 dumpers. You know who you are out there.
But it's so deadly.
Yeah, it's amazing, and that's something I'm trying to work on. So why don't we throw some shots here? I'll demonstrate some shots of straighter angles, both playing to the right, like on a fresh house shot, and then further left, not getting the ball too far out. Okay.
All right, so a couple things to note from those shots, just from being back here watching. From both of those angles, from the left and from the straighter angle, you didn't pay any attention to like the right side of the lane where the dry is.
I tried not to.
The goal is to just let the oil take the ball down the lane instead of it getting to the dry and then the dry making it hook. Your goal is to get the ball to go down the lane, use that oil to get the ball to go down the lane, thus keeping your angles more in the oil.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the straighter angle for me actually looked the best. And if this house shot was a little more burnt up, moving left would have looked a little bit better. But you could even see, I think I threw one shot where I got the ball right way too much, and it just overreacted and went through the face. And that's that inconsistency that we were talking about. When you get that ball to the right too quick and you use the dry, that can happen so easily. So those shots where I was able to get the right release on it and keep it more in front of me, not giving the pocket so far away, it worked out way better.
I think that's important to know too, toward the end of the block. So, you can play straighter, and then the drier they get, the more games are going to naturally you move left, except the difference is you're not moving left and then trying to send it out to no man's land. You're just moving, like kind of paralleling. What I mean by paralleling is your eyes are kind of moving with your feet. You're not like moving your feet and then your angles are super wide open. Everything's just like staying in the oil. And that's going to happen toward the later blocks, when they start to break down a whole bunch. So
yeah, absolutely. So for me, those straighter angles at the beginning worked out way better. I could control the pocket. The ball was hitting fantastically. And then as I move in, just like you said, those parallel moves, and that'll keep me hitting the pocket consistently throughout an entire block. So there you have it, guys, a strategy on how to improve your guys' house shot scores, keeping those straighter angles. Now remember, this varies house to house. Maybe some houses you do have to get the ball right, but for the most part on a house shot, keeping those angles straighter is the key. at least we think, to shooting higher scores on those house shots. So if you guys like this video, like the video, subscribe, and click the link into the description. It's a free gift. It's a video on how to analyze yourself bowling by our coach, Daniel. It's a great video. So if you haven't, check it out. Click that link, and we'll see y'all later.
Later.